Welcome to Season 2 of the SOAR podcast, the place for creative entrepreneurs who want to build healthier, happier, more profitable self-employed businesses. I'm your host, Ray Hyde Cornell, business mentor at Chiron Consulting and CEO and senior copywriter at Cornell Content Marketing. Get ready to soar. Welcome to the SOAR podcast. I am very excited to introduce the fascinating Miss Kirsi Englund. Kirsi, tell us all about your business.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Well, I have been inventing a whole new title for myself for the past few months. So my new title is Rebel Earth Angel. It used to be kind of basic intuitive coach. And then I'm also like a Kundalini Yoga teacher, Reiki master teacher, and an author. But, always when people ask me, so who are you? What are you doing? So it's always like all of these. Well, I'm a yoga teacher. Well, I do retreats. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I hold Reiki courses, and I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. All these things. Yeah. I was like, okay, I have always had a little bit hard to just kind of have it all in one title. And then I think it was just few months ago, it all came through. Okay, Rebel Earth Angel.
So when you tell people that, what's their reaction? Because of course, my mind goes to the business side of things. Of if you're telling people I'm a Rebel Earth Angel, they're going to look at you and go, "What does that mean? How can you help me? I'm not sure." So, but has that been your experience, or are people actually really intrigued and they kind of want to learn more and they ask you more questions and then you end up getting into that?
Yeah, well, at least in social media, it has worked fine since, in social media, everything that's different, it's usually caught people's attention. So it has been really good there. I must admit, if I'm, out there somewhere and, introducing myself, hi, I'm Kirsi. So I will not go hi, I'm Kirsi, I'm a Rebel Earth Angel. It's not maybe that comes. Maybe it's then more like a mentor, spiritual mentor. It's kind of the more I like to put in that way.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about that, because one of the things that has been very prevalent for me lately in my business, for a lot of the freelancers that I talk to and that I work with, is this issue of energy. We have, it seems like, a very limited well of energy right now. And we're recording this in June of 2022. And so it's odd because it's not just me. And normally, I'm a generator. I can go. I'm the Energizer bunny. There's no stopping me once I get into my creative groove. But lately, it seems like my energy has been very confined. And then same for a lot of other people. Is that kind of what you help people understand and break through with the Reiki and the Kundalini and the business mentoring and the spirituality and all of that?
Yeah, one could say that, but also what I want to mention, that's also what I have been going through. It's this whole big collective thing right now. It's there has been just some mornings I've been waking up what the hell, all these thoughts, what am I doing here? And, even if I have clients and I just had a retreat that was full of people and everything, but just a few days afterwards, I felt what the hell is this energy here again? So I wanted to make that sure that you are totally not alone. And, like we said, now it's July when we're talking. So the energy is really, really somehow really intense. But yeah, also what I do more, I would like to put in that way that I work with energy, since I really feel that everything is energy, everything around us, you are energy, your thoughts, your beliefs, your business, everything. So it's maybe more that, getting people more aware of themselves and about their belief systems and everything, that it's energy. And energy can always be transformed. And that's the important key, I feel. everything is constantly moving, and so is energy. And that's why everything you are dealing with now or have dealt with before, it can always be transformed.
So tell me more about that, because when you say that there's this collective kind of like energy funk going on, that's on the one hand a bit of a relief for me. I hear that and I go, okay, it's not just me. I'm not just broken, but at the same time, it's also like it takes your power away a little bit, because then it goes, well, is there anything I can do about that? Or do I just have to ride this out? How do you help freelancers and entrepreneurs who are struggling with these weird waves in energy so that they can still carry on and do what they want and need to do in the world?
Yeah. Well, of course, everyone is always unique, so there is not one recipe I can share with people. But usually the biggest advice is always journal. Just offload, free write, journal, everything just out of your system, and just you can swear on the papers, the writing, really like write just everything and think about that. No one will ever see what you just wrote. Like just really put all there, every feeling. So journaling is one of my biggest tips. And then of course, this 21st century we are living, so especially we women, we tend to be really like, doing all the time things. So it's just like, be more, relax more. Just, it's okay to be. It's okay to have one Wednesday or Tuesday day that you are only like, watching TV or listening to your favorite band or going to yoga classes, or it's like totally okay that we don't have to all the time be achieving.
Yeah. So it's the balance between proactively trying to flush your system and get the things that are weighing on you out of you, and at the same time allowing yourself to just be and enjoy being a human being as opposed to
we are
a human doing. Yeah. So the other work that you do is about helping people connect with their soul purpose. Is that right? So tell me about that. How do you, one of the things that I thought was really interesting is you have a 7-day course that helps people find their soul purpose. And this is one of those things where, throughout my life, how old am I now? I'm 32 now. And I'm thinking, okay, at some points I felt like I knew what my soul purpose was. And then a year later, I realized I know nothing. So
so familiar.
How do you help people figure out what their soul purpose is? And in particular, how do you do it in 7 days? That seems mind-blowing.
Well, I must say, I didn't get it in those 7 days, but it's a really, really good practice that I have used throughout many, many years already. I think the first time I did those practices, there's like a bunch of different questions every day during that 7 days. So I think it was like 7 years ago. And then I have done it regularly, at least once or twice a year. And the thing is, my answers are always changing. And the thing with answering those questions, it's like you are not even allowed to think about your purpose. You are not even allowed to think about your work or what you want to do in life. The questions are a little bit unrelated to your work, and that's the thing why it works so well, because you get your logical mind totally away from the questions, so you can concentrate on other stuff. And those are interesting moments, because then something really new can come up. And those questions for me, when I read my old questions or my old answers from my old diaries, it's like, oh, holy shit, I actually got exactly that, what I wanted, even if I had no clue. Like the thing after those 7 days that I answered, I did have not any clue. Okay, I have still no clue what my purpose is. But the thing is that universe kind of is bringing you the things you are writing. So that's the fascinating thing about it. And about the purpose, one of the biggest thing that I teach and what I have noticed by myself, it's like your purpose is constantly changing and also elevating. Like as you grow and elevate, so does your purpose. And really, honestly, I think it has been so crazy times, crazy years. Maybe it's this collective energy as well. You know, all the old is dying and new is new golden earth. We are like building it up. But it's like, I really feel that my purpose is changing all the time.
So,
but it's okay. And I allow that. And I allow life to unfold exactly like my higher self has planned it out for me.
yeah. So this is where my spiritual naivete is showing. So I think a lot of us go through life thinking, I have one purpose. I am here to do a certain thing. I am here to help people in this way, or I am here to fulfill this need. That's kind of what we fixate
like
on as our purpose. Yeah. So, but to hear you say that your purpose changes, and every time you answer these purpose finding questions, your answers change. What does that mean about what is our actual purpose? Are we looking at our purpose all wrong?
No, I don't think one can look it all wrong unless if we have this like this little fixed idea that our purpose is something, you know, one thing, we are here only to do one thing, to serve one kind of clients, then it's a little bit maybe quote unquote wrong thinking. But it's what was your question? No, I lost the thought.
I'm wondering if we're looking at the definition of our purpose in the wrong way. You know, we're thinking about it as I was sent to this earth, or I came to this earth, or I am inhabiting this body in order to do X, Y, Z. But is that not the case? What is a purpose actually?
Yeah, the thing with purpose is also what I believe and really feel strongly. It's been written inside ourselves already. So it's like encoded in you, in your energetic field already. And that was my biggest, let's say, mistake, even if I don't like the word, but like, because I was all the time reaching out, and, you know, I was searching and looking for and going external ways, and, you know, what it is, when my mind was going crazy. And when you stop that, when you stop like looking and, you know, just searching for it all the time, when you silence your mind, you just more be, and then you have this deeper trust and knowing that it's okay. You don't have to go look for it every day. That it's really comforting to know that it's already in you. Your higher self already knows everything you came here to do. And also the comforting idea that has been a big help for me is that you are exactly where you need to be right now.
So it's not so much that we need to consciously know what our purpose is. We just need to consciously trust that we are being guided towards our purpose. And when these things serendipitously happen in our lives, when we meet people, when we have kind of like these, whoa, how did this just happen? This, you know, I wanted a new client who was kind of like this, and one just fell in my lap. And, you know, when those things sort of just happen, those are the signs that the trust is working.
Yeah. And that you are on the right path. Yes.
Exactly. Amazing. On that note, we are going to take a super short commercial break. We will be right back. Hey, Ray here. Ever wish this whole creative self-employment thing was easier? Like, wouldn't it be nice if there was, I don't know, a step-by-step guide for building a successful freelance business? You know where I'm going with this, right? That guide does exist. Back in the day when I first started out hustling and side gigging, I wish I had a roadmap to fast track my way to self-employed success. So I made one for you. No matter where you are in business, I guarantee you this guide can help you get to the next stage faster, and the next, and the next. Whether you're still deciding if ditching the W-2 is right for you, or if you're struggling with your pricing, business formation, client acquisition, sales, or even health insurance, this guide has everything you need. Get your free copy of the complete guide to building a successful freelance business at chironconsulting.us/guide. guide. We are back with Kirsi Englund. So, Kirsi, I want to know more about how you got on this path. So, you have not only invented your own title, which is phenomenal, and I encourage anybody who is really struggling to stand out in the marketplace to just get creative and fun with that, but also you've really carved a niche for yourself where you are doing all the things that you love in a way that can't really be synopsized in a 1 to 3 word job title.
No.
How did you get to this point? Did you always know that you wanted to work with energy and entrepreneurship and all of that kind of like deeper spiritual work?
That's so funny. No and no and no. And I was always even thinking like I will never be an entrepreneur. So my former profession is a Waldorf school class teacher. And I always wanted to have, stable 9 to 5 job with steady income and, never entrepreneurship. And I got all that. So I worked 2 years as a class teacher. And yeah, I try to make the long story short, but I just realized that that profession wasn't giving me any joy. And the other thing was also that when I started with that, I think I was like 26 when I got my own class. And I was just thinking like, holy shit, am I supposed to do this for 40 years? For the next 40 years? I'm like, no. I just felt deep in my heart that I am meant for something else. I had no clue what it was, but I just knew that it wasn't these things. It didn't bring me joy, and I didn't love it. So about that time, I pumped into these 4 questions in Facebook. What I later found out that they were all about this Ikigai, Japanese way or reason of being, something like that, I think it is. But it's those 4 sentences. So the first one was something like are you good at your work? I'm like, yes, I'm a good teacher. Does the world need it? Like, definitely yes. And are you getting good paid for it? And it's like, yes, I'm like happy with my salary. And the 4th one, do you love it? It's like, no. Which is like really clear no. And then I know, okay, I just need to start to look for something. And then about those questions that I talked about earlier that are in the free e-course. So I started to answer those questions. And then it was a few months, I don't remember exactly, but a few months forward. And I had found Kundalini Yoga, a little bit more maybe spiritual form of yoga. And I really loved that. And it was one Kundalini Yoga lesson that I got this like, oh my God, but this is it. This is what I want to do, because there you get to be a teacher, you get to do all these energetic things, to talk about chakras, sing mantras, and it just felt like coming home. So I quit my day job and went and studied to be a Kundalini Yoga teacher. And after that, I opened my own yoga studio, and which I actually ran for 4 years in Finland. And then it was just all these pieces came together. Like then Reiki came and coaching came, and there was really many different swings here and there. And like I said, I think my purpose changed every year, because at point I was thinking, well, I'm going to be this yoga teacher for kids and teenagers and adults as well. And then many other swings. So
how did you get the courage to, because it wasn't like you were working your full-time job and studying Kundalini Yoga on the side, and then you made the transition. You full on quit. You cut that part of your career out and started from scratch. So what kept you going? How did you not get stuck in the paralysis of fear? And how did you make that leap?
Yeah, I did get stuck with it, but since I'm happily married with my husband and we have 2 kids, so I had the financial backup. So I don't think I could have done it before him. At least then I should have took some big loans or something like that. So it was definitely an important thing for me, and he totally had my back all the time. So yeah, that was the answer to that. And I had my fear moments a lot, actually. But someone sometimes said that the only way to get rid of fears is to just go against them.
Yeah. To just experience the thing that you are afraid of, because oftentimes we make it up to be much bigger in our
Yes.
heads than it actually is.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And so as you were going through, you opened up your yoga studio. How did these other pieces come into your life? Because, it's interesting, especially since I've been hosting the podcast, I've had guests on who we later end up working together. I've written books in chapters. I'm sorry, books and chapters. I've written chapters in books for people who have been on the show, and these kind of opportunities just sort of show up in front of us. And I look back on that time and I go, whoa, I can't imagine it being any different. But how on earth did that all come to be? And now, as I look at your story, to me, it seems perfectly logical that, of course, you would be a Kundalini yoga teacher, and then you would do Reiki, and then you would graduate to coaching. And all of these things seem very harmonious and they come together naturally. But I'm sure as you were walking that path, it didn't seem like the complete picture that it might look to someone on the outside now.
Exactly. And I was all the time like a little bit like I had this missing piece kind of thinking like something's missing. Like I like this Kundalini yoga thing. I like running my own studio. I like this Reiki thing. It was always like I like, but I was kind of like, what's the missing link? What's the missing piece? And I have been always quite active. I have never been good with patience and, sitting and waiting around. So just really always took a lot of action to different kinds of directions. But I believe that coaching, when I have done 3 different coaching programs, actually. It was the first coaching program I did. It was like, okay, the puzzle kind of click. I'm like, okay, this is the missing piece. I believe it was then I realized I'm here to help people in a bigger picture, not only through Reiki or yoga, because Reiki and yoga, they're like, people come and go, and there is not maybe, yes, of course, there can be bigger transformation and healing involved in those as well, of course. But it was somehow that, okay, yes, great, now I finally have the tools to actually help people even more. And little by little, it came so that now I don't own a studio anymore. And actually, I live in Spain. We just moved here in Spain a few months ago from Finland. So it has become more like Kundalini Yoga is kind of like a working tool.
Yeah. And so I want to point out, this happens all the time, especially when we're talking about spiritual topics and following your purpose and, finding alignment with your higher self. There's kind of this duality, right? Where on the one hand, you said you're very much an action taker. You've always had a hard time just sitting and doing nothing and being patient. And at the same time, a few minutes ago, I heard you say, you have to just sit and be. And that happens all the time, right? Where we're like, how do you sit and be, but be an action taker at the same time? And a lot of people, I feel like they criticize themselves or others for holding these juxtapositions at the same time. But that's what life is. There's all these contradictions, and you need to be able to figure out when to do which. So how do you know personally, how do you know when it's time to take action versus when it's time to sit and be still and listen and just be?
It varies. And this whole thing about just, taking it slow and just being more, it's quite new concept for me, actually. I think just only about 1.5 year, max 2 years, I have had it more like, okay, it's okay to calm down. So I definitely was not that person before. And I'm still practicing it. But then I have days, it's like, for example, it was just yesterday, I had one of this morning, like, oh gosh, like, I'm not in the mood to do anything, but I am I'm the CEO of my company. I'm like, okay, it's just a normal weekday. I should do something. But then again, I don't want to do my work out of like blah energy. That's one promise I have gave to myself, that I never want to work from blah energy. But you know, if every CEO in the world, you know, the biggest company CEOs would just, you know, call and, you know, guys, I'm not coming today since, you know, I have blah energy and I want to work. So that doesn't work either. So one medicine when you are feeling like that kind of little like blah is to move. Somehow move your body, whether it's yoga, running, dance, sing. You can move your voice. For me, it's usually hip hop or rap music. It's like really get me going. And you know, just taking small action steps. Like yesterday, I had really much on my to-do list. I'm like, okay, just forget it. I am not in the mood to do all these things, but small action. So that's about that. And then when I'm feeling like, okay, now it's really like time to stop, is when I feel I'm start to get like cranky. And if I start to be like overwhelmed and doing work, it's not fun anymore. Then I also know, okay, time to stop, time to take it easy, since that's the biggest lesson for me as an entrepreneur, that like I said, I really want to do my work out of good energy, and that it's the journey. It's all about the journey. It's about having fun now and not thinking all the time the destination. I got to do this and this and this so that I reach my destination.
Right.
I just so wish that someone would have told me that when I started my entrepreneurship like 6 years ago or so. So about enjoying the journey.
Yeah. And I love that rule that you have for yourself, that you're never going to do work out of that kind of blah place. And, you know, really what you're saying is you have to know yourself. So for you, I love that you said that you listen to hip hop and rap music, and that really like gets that energy back in you. And at the same time, there's always something that you can do, even if our to-do list has these giant things on it. You know, our to-do list has this big project and this big project and this big project. What is the tiny action that you can take? Because it's kind of like a rolling stone gathers no moss sort of thing, where if you can just get that stone moving a little bit, just a little bit, that momentum will build, as opposed to thinking you have to go from a dead stop to a full-on sprint. That's never going to help. That just doesn't work. You have to be willing to start with something small and build up to that. And ultimately it's, how do you work best? How do you reinvigorate yourself with the energy, whether it's rap music, dancing, singing? You know, I love playing my violin. I'm terrible at it, but I have a violin and I play on that. And at the same time, going where your energy wants to go. So, you know, even if you have this to-do list of 10 things, but your energy is saying, but I want to do this other thing that's not even on my list, well, then go do it, because maybe that's the thing that you need to spark that momentum that you can then carry over to your to-do list.
Yeah, and then you get the energy flowing. Like I said, that energy wants to be on the move constantly. So it's just get the energy moving by even a little action, and then see where it takes you there.
Beautiful, beautiful. So where can people check you out, Kirsi?
I am on Instagram and Facebook. So it's my name, Kirsi Englund 17 actually is my Instagram account, and just my name on Facebook. Just my name, Kirsi Englund, on YouTube as well. And of course, I must show my newest book. So I'm reading 2 books, and this is the newest one, Open Your Fucking Heart.
I love that. I love that title.
Spiritual guide to stepping fully into your power and purpose. So there is many of those aspects that we just talk about today, plus much more interesting stuff in this book. So you can get it on Amazon, but you can probably put it on show notes.
Yes, we will put all of your links in the show notes, as well as to your 7-day Find Your Purpose e-course. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, Kirsi.
Thank you.
Hey, Ray here again. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please subscribe and rate us in your favorite podcasting platform. Want to be a guest on the show or know someone who has an amazing story of entrepreneurship? Apply on our website at chironconsulting.us/podcast.